Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. Backup account so my family doesn't find me. So, for context, I, 21 male, have spent the past 3-4 years or so planning to move out of state. I want to get really far from my parents because both of them have caused me a lot of emotional and physical pain. I have a house, roommates waiting for me, and enough cash to get me there, and last until I can get a job. I have been planning this since my junior year of high school. The problem is, my grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, my grandfather is legally blind, and so a lot of caretaking work has landed squarely on my shoulders. Both my parents work and occasionally take care of stuff like bills and home repairs, but it's my job to take my grandparents to their appointments, grocery shopping, manage their spending each month, ensure the house is clean, make sure they take their medicine, etc. I have never been able to get a stable job because of this. My parents pay me for helping on occasion, and I do freelance work in my spare time. Without exaggerating, I can't leave home unless I am with my parents or I'm doing something for my grandparents. It's because of this that my parents are heavily against me moving out. They get mad at me for even suggesting moving out and constantly tell me they will go bankrupt without me because they can't afford to take off work. I have no siblings that are old enough to help out, and none of my relatives live as close to them as I do. Others could help with the work, but my parents refuse it because I'm conveniently available. To me, this should not be my responsibility. I shouldn't have to give up on my plans to take care of my grandparents. I've sunk too much time and money into moving to give it up. I'm running out of time to move. I need to be gone by this November. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be caretaker for the next several years? Edit. I appreciate the thoughts and opinions given on this ordeal, and I have decided I'm gonna take things into my own hands and go for it, whether my parents see me as an a-hole or not. Moving out, unfortunately, isn't going to go down without a fight, but I'm going. I've had my things organized and ready to go for a while, so I'm just loading them up in boxes so I can have them shipped. The first box was sent to my future roomie's address today. As a last favor to my parents, I'm going to look into resources through Medicaid to get them a trained caretaker. If I don't forget, I'll update again when I'm in my new home. Thanks for helping me gain confidence in myself. Final update. I've officially moved out. I tied up loose ends with my grandparents and they are well taken care of, but unfortunately had to drop moving on my parents very suddenly. So suddenly that they only knew 1 hour before leaving because I had no other choice. I knew the guilting would happen. I knew my dad would be hostile. In fact, the last thing he said to me was, "I hate you for this." I'm heartbroken, but I'm happier here in a new state with people who care for me. I still get texts from loads of family members, some who I haven't spoken to in months, blaming me for suddenly moving, but I know it was the right thing to do. It's been a weird couple of days, but I'm doing well. Thank you again for all the people on here giving me support. I really don't think I could have made this leap had it not been for friends and strangers on Reddit, giving me a push in the right direction. You're not the a-hole, OP. I'm so glad you've left that toxic environment. Your parents had absolutely no excuse or reason for making you their parents' full-time caretaker. You're so young. You have a lot to do. You have your own world to explore, and they expect you to stay and look after your grandparents. I'm sure your grandparents are nice people and they deserve really good care, but they are your parents' responsibility, not yours. Your father sounds so toxic for saying those last words to you, and those distant family members that are calling you up now should go full in your shoes, since they're so concerned. Live your life, OP. Everything else will be fine. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. A girl I went to school with, who desperately wanted to leave our hometown, instead spent her entire 20s taking care of her grandmother. Was she free to start her own life after her grandmother died? Nope. By then her parents were fading and relied on her. She's past 40 now and still taking care of them. Don't let your family build their elder care needs around you because it will never end. Not the a-hole. I say this as someone who spent years living with my narcissistic mother because I felt that she needed my contributions to the house. I felt horribly guilty when I finally moved out, but I needed to do it, and it was the right thing to do. There is no reason that the work of caring for your grandparents needs to fall on you. What are your parents doing to help them? They are being completely unfair and taking advantage of you. Since that's who they are, it's up to you to put an end to it. This is not something you need to perpetuate or enable. Not the a-hole, just chiming in for support. Your parents suck. It was their choice to become the primary caregiver for their parents. Despite there being other options, in-home care, senior housing, etc., your parents want to put the responsibility of the decision they made onto you. Damn, that makes me angry. See, parents might think this, but it was also a choice to have a child. They don't get some special kickbacks for housing, feeding, and educating you. That's the price of a kid. You're not an insurance policy, you're a young adult, and it's time to start on your own journey. F your parents. Story 2. My husband and I have been married for 7 years. My sister-in-law and husband share a father who's going to be abroad for 13 more months. My sister-in-law's mom is a drunk who never took care of her child, so we took legal guardianship of sister-in-law 2 years ago when she was 15. Sister-in-law is a troubled kid, but not a bad person at all. I try to go easy on her because I struggled a lot when I was her age, and I was hoping I could help her move past her shitty upbringing. It's been a challenging couple of years, especially since husband and I have been dealing with infertility for a while now and lost 3 babies over the course of 18 months. The last one at 15 weeks. I've been trying to come to terms with my infertility while helping husband through his depression, as he has been recently laid off from work. A week ago, sister-in-law came to me and said her period was late. She begged me not to tell my husband, and I told her of course we would keep it a secret until we knew for sure that she was pregnant. I took her to the clinic and we found out she was 8 weeks along. I was surprised and she admitted that she had stopped taking her birth controls because it was giving her acne. On our way home, she told me that she wasn't willing to abort. I told my husband, and to my shock, he was actually happy. He told her we would help her raise the child. I waited until she went to bed before I broke down in tears and told him that I wouldn't be able to handle it. I want her to move out. He exploded at me, calling me a selfish bitch. He apologized later, but made it clear that his sister would stay with us. She has relatives living in another state who offered to take her in until her dad gets home, but husband doesn't want her to have to change schools. I know sister-in-law would not be able to take care of a baby, and that would leave my husband and I to do the work for her. She has no income, she doesn't even know who her father is, and isn't willing to adopt the baby out. Reddit, am I the a-hole for wanting her to move in with her aunt? I don't think I can look at her every day for the next 7 months, knowing that she has something I can't ever have. I'm barely holding it together right now. I don't know what to do. No a-holes here, but your husband was close to being one when he called you a selfish bitch OP. It's not unreasonable for you to be unwilling to do this. And your husband should have talked to you more, but this is his sister, who you have legal guardianship of, and his future niece or nephew. It is not ideal for you to live with a girl who messed up and got pregnant for a very dumb reason. But it's not right to make a troubled pregnant teen, who again you are legally responsible for, to move to another state for your comfort either. Seek a therapist and try to make peace with this, and also seek couples counseling. I think you should aim to make it work at least through her graduating high school or becoming a legal adult. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. A troubled 17-year-old getting accidentally pregnant is not something to be happy about. Regardless of the living situation, he needs to get his priorities straight. The fact that he's insulting you, controlling you, unilaterally making decisions on top of prioritizing an unborn child over your feelings and any semblance of practicality is a huge bunch of red flags here. You are her legal guardian, so kicking her out is likely not an option, but the undertones in your post are disturbing. I would be looking seriously at your own relationship. You're supposed to be a team. No a-holes here. First of all, I am so sorry you're dealing with infertility. I've suffered miscarriages in the past as well, so I understand the pain. That being said, I think you're letting your emotions get the best of you right now. If you weren't dealing with fertility issues, would you be more supportive of her? I would recommend taking a few days or a week to calm down before you make a decision. Try to put yourself in her shoes. You even said so yourself that you struggled a lot when you were her age. What would you think if the support system and stable home life you've had for the past couple of years just suddenly didn't want you anymore? Not the a-hole. First of all, your husband is the a-hole and way out of line. The decision to help her raise the child is one that the two of you should have made together. It's obviously not what you signed up for, and he's showing a major lack of respect for you by pushing the issue. He's also not being sensitive to the emotional harm this is causing you with regards to your own struggle with getting pregnant. I'm sorry this is happening. However, you need to make it clear that you will not raise someone else's child, especially when there are other families who are better equipped in many ways and, most of all, willing to take on that massive burden. Best of luck to you. Story 3. Long-time Reddit lurker just discovered this sub and made an account to post this. To keep it brief, I'm a single dad. I don't know what I'm allowed to say here per the rules, but let's just say my kid's mum isn't at all a fit mother and I have full custody. I'm pretty young, 23, kid is 5. But I really think becoming a parent was the best thing that's happened to me, and I wouldn't change a thing. I'm happy being a single parent. My brother and especially his wife don't seem to grasp this. Since I took full custody, she's been asking me non-stop when I'm going to get back out there and trying to set me up with her friends. I've told her multiple times that I'm not interested in dating again right now and have given her my whole list of reasons as to why. To begin with, she countered them with, "Oh, but you're so young. You should date while you can." Type bullshit. Then she started telling me I was selfish and that I'm depriving my kid of a stable 2-parent home for my own bullshit reasons. That I took offense to because I provide a stable home for my kid by myself and don't need another person to be able to do that. Anyway, things peaked last month when I found out my sister-in-law had been signing me up for dating sites and talking to people on my behalf and trying to set up dates. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And I kind of flipped out and called my brother and told him that I think his wife is an inconsiderate bitch, that she needs to learn some respect for other people, and that I don't want her around me or my kid again for the foreseeable future. He told me that I'm being selfish, she's just trying to help me be a better parent, and that I'm ungrateful. It ended in us basically having a shouting match on the phone, and we haven't spoken since. I can totally see from their side that she was trying to help or do a nice thing, but I repeatedly told her no, and she didn't listen. So I think I was justified. Was I, or is my brother right, that I'm a raging ungrateful douchebag? Now for some comments. Holy shit, not the a-hole. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have called his wife a bitch. That may have been a bit much. But she stomped over some major boundaries by setting up dating profiles for you. That is way out of line, and I would be furious too. It's up to you 100% if and when you want to start dating again. That isn't her call to make. I'm gonna go against the grain here and say everyone sucks here. Her to a further extent by far. But you calling your brother's wife a bitch is inconsiderate and forces your brother to take a strong side. I can only speculate, but I'm sure the fight with your brother wouldn't have happened had you calmly expressed how across the line she acted. Even if he does still try to defend her, you can still tell them to stay out of your life without calling his wife a bitch. Did she deserve it? Yeah, probably. But you, sir, are still an a-hole. Not the a-hole. I don't think it's great you called her a bitch, but I understand you were pushed to that point and people say things when they're heated. It's ridiculous that they equate dating with being a better parent or more stable in any way. Dating in and of itself is completely unstable. And you're only 23. It's extremely challenging to find someone who's ready for that level of commitment at such a young age. You're probably better off waiting a few years anyways. I don't think this is something that's beyond repair though. Perhaps when you've eventually cooled down, you can apologize for the poor choice of words and not much else. I hope she takes you seriously and knocks it off.